the end result that we're going to achieve until the end of the video. This bass. Put it into the context. You'll get to the end of this video knowing how to use subtractive synthesis to create your own bass sound, and also become a little bit more familiar with analog, which is one of the instruments from Ableton. So you can see here, you have here analog. We are going to select this quick routing because it is about having an oscillator, a filter, and an amplifier. And these are the three main blocks that you use for subtractive synthesis. So here we have an oscillator, which is basically, imagine, is someone screaming or somebody making a sound. It's constantly making that sound, just waiting for you to press a key or to receive a MIDI note, and it's constantly doing that sound. We're going to have a look at some different types of oscillators, and then the output. So what comes out of the oscillator is going through a filter, and that's why it's called subtractive synthesis, because the filter is going to subtract parts of the oscillator sound in order to create the sound that we want. And then what comes out of this filter is going into what is called an amplifier. So basically it's something that will deliver the sound to our speakers or to our headphones. Let's quickly create here a bassline. Is actually the default sound by analog. So it's going like. Notice that you can have different types of oscillator. This one is a sawtooth, so the bigger, the sharper the shape, the more overtones, so more brightness you can have on your sound. Here we also have a sine wave. You see here,
vamos fazer arredondamento
mostly
para
basically a sine tone, so it's very round, and we would like to have a little bit more, you know, of these higher frequencies, these harmonics, in order to build a bass. You could also see a lot more harmonics here, so this is the square wave. For our bass, going for the sawtooth. Now let's look at the second box, the filter. So in the filter we have, you can see here that we have you can have several different types of filters, or you can have a low pass. So the low pass, what it does is to remove the higher frequencies, as the name says. And you have here several parameters. You're going to see here attack, decay, sustain, release. And these parameters are what makes an envelope. And this is not only on subtractive synthesis, this is common to several types of synthesis. So what do these values mean? It means like this. So this is the volume, and this is time. So we have here the attack. What is the attack? It's the amount of time that takes before. So you press a key here, and the attack is the amount of time that it takes until the sound reaches its maximum value. And after the attack, you have immediately a decay. So you press a key, it reaches the maximum value, and then you're going to have the decay. So the decay is the amount of time that it takes from having the highest value to the value that is defined by the sustain. So let's say you have sustain is I don't know, 60% of the initial value, you press the key, it goes to the top value, and then the highest intensity, and then after the decay, it descends to a certain level, which is defined by the sustain. What we still have left to go is the release. So this is the moment when you stop pressing the key. After you release the key, it will take some time for the sound to die out, and that time is this time here, and that is the release. With the examples that I'm going to show you, this will become more concrete and easily understood. So going for the filter, you have here what is chosen as a low pass, and since this is a bass, we want to remove higher frequencies, so it makes sense that we have a low pass. Okay. So now attack, decay, the sustain is actually this value, and you're gonna have here, you have here the time of release. So the attack means the attack is 5 milliseconds, so it's almost instantaneous. And what happens if we increase the attack? This is milliseconds. Our bass becomes more like a whoomp. Let's hear it now. And before. Okay, so you see the decay here, so it's the time that it takes from going here to the 50% of the value. So it takes 150 milliseconds to go to the higher volume. Then after that it takes 0.6 seconds to go to 50%, which is the sustain. Let's see if we increase the decay, how does this sound? The release. So the release, it's the amount of time that it takes from going when I stop pressing the key. So I'm pressing it, going through attack. After the decay, it will stop at sustain, which is 50%, which is here. And then after I release the key, it will take a quarter of a second. Let's listen. Pressing, release almost zero, and immediately disappears. Let's see if we are good with this sound. And then we have here our amplifier. So this applies, what goes out of the filter goes through the amplifier. So right now is like making it 18 dBs quieter. Let's put it to 0. And you also have the bend, so you might put it here or here. You will notice this better if you're wearing headphones. Okay, so let's go to here. It's a bit long. And now we could use, for instance, my low-end pack, and we're going at what, let's go for, I don't know, 134 or something like that, and we can pick a low end from here. So what we can do is use from my low end pack for instance, this low end. Let's just drop it here. Okay, so this is 130 BPMs. Let's go for 136. So I need to warp this, and this was 130. Now we're good to go. Let's see how does this sound. We could just repeat our bass. We want our bass, of course, to duck on the low end.